Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go.
We're back to the warehouse for week 3 of Blitzball Blitz. Baggage rigged the standings, and now everyone makes it to Billy's. Let's talk Blitzball. Welcome to the Blitzball Boys, the podcast about ball sports in the warehouse, but lately about Blitzball. I'm your co-host, Brendan Ruppel, along with my fellow host, Peter Del Rey.
Hey, Brendan. Late record. We had a very busy weekend, and we couldn't do our normal record because instead of watching the games at home, we were watching the games from the warehouse.
Whoa. It's true.
How crazy was that? If you saw us on the live stream, you saw us on the live stream. If you didn't, you probably just saw a weirdo with weird teeth and a fatso in a soccer jersey.
Guess who's which? Bet you can't.
And you said, wow, that was pretty bad.
Are they talking about the same guy?
That's the same. The guy in the soccer jersey is the one with the weird teeth. What the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah. And we weren't actually invited there, but we barged in. We found the address, barged in. We glued our butts to the seats, and they couldn't remove us.
Yep, couldn't do it. Super glue, crazy glue, gorilla glue. Three types of glue.
That's how we did it. It's 3 types of glue. It's like the 3 types of cheese that
it's true.
Nachos really good. Which is what I was going to say next, is that me and Nicole, mostly me, have been obsessed with rewatching the stupid scene of Drake and Josh where they get the sticky cheese nachos. I don't know if you remember it, but there's just a famous part of it where Josh Peck goes, "Sticky cheese?" He can't open his mouth. It's the funniest thing. I think there's something wrong with these nachos.
Oh man, we are
starting off.
I
great.
feel like this is gonna be a giggly episode. We started off before we recorded doing Banjo Kazooie voices to one another, and I think we're just gonna be giggly all episode.
I could keep it in the YouTube. I started recording the YouTube before we started doing that, so maybe I'll leave it in.
Nah, you don't need to do that. But yeah, we were in the warehouse. Jimmy very graciously invited us to the warehouse when he first found out about the podcast back when we were covering Blitzball Battle 3. And he was like, "Oh, you guys should come when we do live things in September. It'll be awesome."
He was just talking.
And I think
just being nice.
I think you and I were on the same page of like, "Oh, this is really nice of him. For sure, not going to happen."
Also,
like he's just
saying, like, if you
being
guys
a nice
come,
guy.
it's like not that great, but you can come if you feel like it. Like,
No. Seriously, like I really thought it was like he was just being nice. Like, I really thought that it would be one of those like he'd forget to invite us when time comes because he's a very busy guy, not because he's an asshole, because he's very, very busy.
Right. He's a busy
and
asshole.
he reached out to us a couple weeks ago and was like, "Oh yeah, whenever you're free, like we'd love to have you." And they did. Everybody. We had like communications from some people there that they were like, "Yeah, people are so excited for you to come," which was kind of really surreal because I don't know. This is kind of just a podcast of me and my buddy talking about some entertainment that we both really enjoy, and we never really anticipated getting any fans, much less the people who make this stuff. So it was really cool.
About this from a lot of the people we've interviewed. Like, why do you guys do this? Or why do you guys like us so much? Or how did it start? And it really, in my brain, when I go back to how it all began, we just wanted to talk about it and we didn't care what happened next. And we fully expected it to go nowhere, but wanted just to put it out into the ether because that would be a way for us to make sure we sat down with each other and talked about it and got it off our chests. And it's really pretty quickly, thanks to all the people at Jomboy Media, it's gone a lot further than that. And it's probably made us even bigger fans than we already were too.
Absolutely. So let's talk about our experience there. And then we'll get into the game. Sorry, we don't want to bore everybody with all this like, haha, we did cool stuff you didn't.
But that's exactly what we're going to do.
First impression, first thing you thought going in.
So we get greeted by Jack Doyle, Luke O'Brien, and BBD. And immediately the surrealness starts to happen a little bit. And it's probably funny for them to hear this because they're obviously just normal people. But me and you have only ever seen them on a small screen. So they're not really yet real human beings until you finally embrace. And boy, did we embrace. BBD gives a really good hug. He gave me a fake hug at first with his arms straight out.
Me too. He did it. He did one of these where it was like it was a full hug motion, but he just refused to put his arms on our back.
And then when he really gives it to you, he gives it good. I'm like, this is strange that like I'm hugging BBD right now. It's just they're not real, and then they are, and that's how it began. And then they walk you into the warehouse, and it's if you've ever watched behind the scenes footage of the warehouse, it's kind of cool to see that it's not just one big room being the warehouse. There is like little hallways, then it comes out into the big spot, and then there's the field. That's really cool. So getting into the entrance, you're like, where the hell, what part of the fucking warehouse is this? And there's so many little rooms, so many nooks and crannies, and then even that stuff is weird. Throughout the years, you start to get familiar with like the press room and like the little snack area and all that stuff. And I maybe we're a little bit more nerdy about it, and we know which room is the snack area and which room is the lounge and stuff like that. But it was really cool to see it in person. And then as soon as you walk out into the warehouse, you're like, it shouldn't, and maybe it should. I don't know. We love this stuff, so I'm not afraid to say how cool it was for me to walk out onto that field. It felt really, really not important is the wrong word, but just just big. It felt physically big and emotionally a little bit big.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was like I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but like I was fortunate enough a couple years back to like go on the field after an NYCFC game because it was just like a season ticket holder thing, and it was just one of those things like, holy shit, this is where these guys play.
Right.
And it was the same feeling,
sensation,
which is crazy to think about.
Because they're just like dudes that are like relatively talented guys, but they're better at just being interesting people that happen to have some sport talent.
Yeah.
But they're really mostly there to be entertainers. So, but I still am fans of them as players. So to step onto their turf that is in my head imaginary until I actually see it for real was really, really cool.
I think that the three things that stood out to me the most was, one, how far the pitcher's mound was from the batter's box.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it felt so much farther than it looks on camera. Two, how, I know this is going to contradict what you just said, but like how small the warehouse is in a sense that like, I don't know, when you watch on the camera and say Jack's on the mound, Zoe's in the outfield, and Zoe's like in left field, right? And you're like, wow, there's so much space between where Zoe is in left field and where right field is. And then you go there and it's like, oh, it's really not that much space. So if a ball like hits off the wall, you have even less time to react to it than you would if it was a bigger space. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that was one of the things that I noticed too, was like, holy shit, when we finally got to be on the field and like catch batted balls, it comes at you real fast.
And then real quick, sorry.
Oh, no.
3, because there's 3 things, Brendan.
Oh, no.
Nobody has like a character for the camera. Everybody, it just is who they were on camera. Like, that was so crazy to me.
That was the funny part, like, yeah.
Zoe is Zoe, Jake is Jake, Jack is Jack. Like, that's just who they are. Jack was fucking killing me. Oh my God. The stuff that Jack was doing off camera. Like, there was one point after Jack was done, like, warming up, hitting, he, like, threw his bat to the ground and then pretended to shoot it with a machine gun. We were losing our mind.
I don't think he knew anyone was watching besides Zoe. And Zoe cracked up, and we were like, what? I think we said it to each other while we were in there, that it was so funny that we were there for about an hour before filming started. And it was just like pure friend chaos before the camera started rolling. And then it was just like organized chaos, but it was the same personalities the entire time. One was just before and after cameras.
The whole thing is like, they obviously know that you're broadcasting for, you know, thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people at times, right? And it comes down to the essence of, it almost feels as though everyone there isn't trying to entertain the crowd. They're just trying to like pop their friends, you know, like it's like we're hanging out. Oh, I'm going to do something that I know that just Brendan is going to laugh at.
Yeah, no, they're doing everything
like,
they're doing is
that's
for the
just
room
what
itself.
They're doing. It's crazy, and they really captured lightning in a bottle. When you're there, it's just that more apparent. You know, you got Lou yelling out when there's like a bad ball, like, oh, it's a nice miss for the
Yeah.
pitch, and then somebody giving it right back to Lou when he was on the mound.
Yeah,
Like,
it's almost like it's like a bunch of teammates
it's
hanging out.
really just it's a bunch of guys getting together to play baseball in their backyard, for a lack of a better term, and like that's really the crux of why we love the warehouse, because it brings us back to those days where we were just in the backyard with our friends making up bullshit rules to like play to the dimensions of the backyard. Like we used to have, essentially, at my parents' house growing up, we lived on a hill, right? At the bottom of a hill.
Mm-hmm.
So up here is where the plate was.
Yeah.
And then this entire side, the entirety of left field was foul ball.
Right.
Because there were trees that like hung over, and if you hit the trees, it was an auto foul.
And it's fun. Like that's the stuff everybody grew up with too. I had the same thing where maybe you've been in my backyard in
Nope.
Lindenhurst. No, never. So we would set up by the gate that goes into the backyard, and it was kind of just like a straight like rectangle to the left.
Right.
Like left field, there was a pool, but over the pool was in play, but in the pool was foul. But anything that was to right field was basically foul also because it was in the neighbor's yard, so we couldn't count anything
Right.
in the neighbor's yard fair. So you had to hit either straight away or over the pool in left field. So you only had center field and left field to hit over the fence.
We used to do, if you hit it, because obviously there was like unlimited foul territory to the right. There was no foul territory to the right, essentially. So you'd set up facing center, and then to the right would be like the house, the driveway, and all this other stuff. But the only way it's going foul if it goes to the right is if it goes behind you. Like we would hit it over the house sometimes, and it would be a fair ball. It's like, just run, because the only home runs was over the straight back fence.
Yeah.
And like, without digressing too much, that's what the warehouse is. It's a bunch of guys getting together and playing backyard baseball indoors, essentially, right?
And so some of that it was like almost cathartic to be able to throw something hard and like hit something hard inside of a place. It's like I see why it's so pleasing to play a sport indoors, because you can just like rip doubles as hard as you want off. Like Lou being able to hit as hard as he can off of a wall
man.
inside. It's got to feel pretty solid.
Let's talk about something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing Lou and Jack pitch in real life,
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody swing. Lou has this weird motion when he throws a ball where he'll like come up top here, and right when he's at like the apex of his, you can't really see, but right when he's at the apex of his motion, he like just kind of snaps his wrist up there.
Yeah.
And makes it look like when it looks, if you're just thinking about it from a physics standpoint,
Yeah.
when he gets up here and goes like that, it looks like he's spiking the ball into the ground, and that just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how that works. And then Jack, I am notoriously bad at dealing with like a fucky pitcher. So if the pitcher does something weird, I'm out of the zone.
Yeah, you're saying that's me on the
immediately.
sidelines too. You're like,
I
I
was
wouldn't
saying
deal
it
with
to
that
you.
at all.
No, my best friend, when we play, he does this weird shit where like, oh, it's kind of like what Jake does, where he fucks around on the mound, where he'll set up like this, and then he'll put the ball in his left hand, take it away, show he has nothing in his right, be like, what? Bring it back, and then throw. It gets me
Like, oh,
every
it was in my hand the
single
whole time. Now I'll throw it.
Yeah, and like Jack just does stuff like Jack throws the ball and falls off to the right, like almost fully falling onto the ground. And it's just so much more impactful in real life. And you're just like, how is anybody staying locked in against this? That's great. I don't care how many times you face him. That's insane.
Yeah, and he doesn't need the help of doing the extra stuff, because his stuff, like we all know from watching on TV or YouTube rather, his stuff is nasty. Let alone like now seeing it in person. It is dirtier than you think. Even if you think it's dirty, in person it is crazy.
Gross. It was gross. Even like, so here's another thing. Brendan and I were very fortunate to take some at-bats against Jimmy. Brendan fared a lot better than I did. And then we also got to pitch against him. Jimmy widely regarded as, I would say, probably an average to slightly above average pitcher in the warehouse, right? His pitches were insane at the plate. Brendan was saying that our friend Chris is better. I haven't had a chance to play against Chris, but like just the fact that like you'll stand there and the ball will get to like here and then break.
Right.
You have no time to react. And it's like Jimmy's throwing 54 sometimes, 50, 58,
Yeah, I think he's
59.
topping out around like low 60s.
Right. And so like you're thinking, oh, there's guys who are throwing this 10 miles an hour faster, breaking later.
Yeah.
It just puts it all into perspective. Because like when I play in the backyard, when I'm on, I have like a fork ball that will break very late, but it only works like 30% of the time.
When it works well.
And like just the fact that they can get these balls to move the same way every time they do it is crazy. And it made me appreciate it that much more.
Yeah. I think that I've heard them say, I don't know who said it, maybe like Zoe was the first one to harp on it, but it's apparently very helpful to be able to play so much in the warehouse because you don't ever have the outdoor factors, and you can expect the ball to do the same thing every time if you're throwing it the same way every time. It's something you don't have the luxury of when you're only throwing outside and you don't know which way the wind's going or what's going to affect the ball. So it probably helps a lot to know, like, if I throw it this way, it'll do it because we're in a controlled space. That's definitely helpful. It was cool to see it happen in person too. It was like I didn't really get to throw too much because Lou's kids were there and they're really excited to be there too. I'm like, well, this is a thing for kids. Let me let the kids play.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely got to hit for a decent amount of time, and it was getting up there was just maybe this always happens when I play at home too, and it takes me like an inning to get my timing down because I with that, no matter what, I think I can go up there and just revert back to baseball skills, and I go back to baseball swing every single time I start the day.
Yeah.
That combined with being excited and nervous because Jimmy asked us to go play with him for a minute. I'm like,
oh my
this is
God,
crazy.
that was when we ended it, right?
Like
and I was going to bring
finish
this
the
up closer
games.
to the end before we got into like our recaps. The games ended. Brendan and I were offered the opportunity to record in their studio with one of their producers. We said, yeah, of course. And then Jimmy comes up to us and goes, hey, do you guys want to take some at-bats? And of course, Brendan and I, being, fans, we're like, yes, please, thank you.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
So, like, Brendan's at the plate. I'm, like, standing behind Jimmy, just, like, watching him grip the ball, watching him pitch, just being, like, in awe. I threw some balls when Jimmy threw them as well, which was just to fuck with Brendan. Then I got up, and then Jimmy had to go to record something. I think that they were going to try and record. I think they were going to try and record the Talking Yanks episode at the warehouse. They decided against it. But like Jimmy left, then Dan Canobio was there for a little, and Lou was there for a little, and we were just like talking with them, and we were playing with them, and we were playing with Lou's because Lou's kids got there like, hey, pitch to me, and it's like, oh, of course I'll pitch, dude. Don't worry about it.
And they're good. They're both like future Lou's.
Lou's kids are nuts.
Yeah,
it's Lou's kids. To put this into perspective, they were throwing in the 50s, and they're what did Lou say, 8 and 6 or something like that,
yeah.
8 and 10. They were both throwing like in the 60s. They were absolutely ripping the ball when they were hitting. It was crazy. Lou's youngest hit one into my chest while I was collecting the balls, and as I was putting it back, talking to Lou, he hits it into my chest and then goes, that wasn't my fault. Fucking dying. It was a lot of fun, because at the end of the day, that's the joy of kids playing this kind of sport is what I personally am hoping Jimmy and Jake and all them are getting from this. Oh, we met the Blitzball guy.
I was going to say that next to you. Just reminded me that he was talking to me about how his dream was always to just like never be recognized for being like the Blitzball inventor, but he was saying he was with some people, maybe he was with like Jack and Zoe or some people from Jomboy, and all the kids recognize all of the Jomboy Media people and ran right past the inventor of Blitzball, holding Blitzballs. He's like, that's all I ever wanted was like people to love the thing, and I don't want to be
Yeah.
the front facing
He
person of it.
is
But he's such an incredible guy, such a nice person.
incredible guy, incredibly nice guy.
Yeah, one of the nicest people I've
I
ever met.
cannot. He like was talking to us. I think it took us what 2 seconds to get like on a friendly basis with him and talk to him as if we've been friends for years.
I think you recognize him first, and you're like, "Are you the Blitzball guy?" And then he turns around and is like, "Oh, you're the Blitzball Boys."
Yeah.
I was like so excited to talk to us.
He was
Like, no, we're excited to talk
like,
to you.
even
You're the
beyond that. Like, it was the same with everyone in the warehouse. There was no like awkward period of like getting to know someone and stuff like this. It was just kind of like, oh, I know, like you're here because you like Blitzball. We're friends.
That is a funny thing because we know a lot more about them than they do about us. Like we watch them all the time. Like we know like I met Dan Rourke and I was like, oh Dan, like big fan. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, like I listen to Towing the Slab all the time. Like I love any episode that you get to talk to David Cohen about your opinion on the Yankees is my favorite shit ever. It's the fucking funniest thing ever. And he was like so happy to hear that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, some of them, I think a good chunk of them know us because we talked to them or they heard around the office. But
right,
it might be, I guess it's something you eventually get used to, where you meet people that are fans and you can assume they know a decent chunk about you.
I mean, like, shout out the people who like called us out immediately. Dan Canobio, while we were taking a look at the loft, Dan Canobio mid practice points us out and goes, Blitzball Boys, which is kind of crazy because we haven't really put our faces out that much at that point, and he had never interviewed with us. So that was kind of funny. Zoe, obviously, first guest of the pod. Zoe. Oh, Zoe we found is disrespectful.
Extremely disrespectful.
Zoe is being so. Where's the stuff?
Zoe is also a gambling addict as well.
Zoe turned into a gambling addict. We're joking, obviously, but there was what was Zoe saying that I was calling him disrespectful about? Oh, he continued to make fun of me for not being able to go to Billy's on Sunday.
Yeah, you're a jerk.
I'm a jerk.
Can't blame him on that one.
So there was that. There was the whole Joe's incident when he bobbled the ball.
Oh yeah,
very funny, very very funny. But
I mean, it's a good segue. Maybe we'll get into the games now.
But yeah, again, thank you to Jomboy Media.
Huge
thank you to everybody. It was legitimately absolute dream. It was a blast. It was worth going to fucking Jersey City for.
Yeah. I know it was. Besides the traffic, you guys made it super easy to get it. It was like just super seamless. I mean, you guys are like Peter was saying. It's like everybody there is so nice. Everybody's so welcoming. You made it a cool experience, even cooler.
It was like it was like you showed up to a friend's house and you were friends with everybody there. And like, mind you, save a couple like video chats where we talked to some of these people. Like, we didn't know these guys. We've like had some DM conversations on Twitter. We've like interviewed a couple of them and, made jokes. It was legitimately like we showed up at a friend's house and like everybody there was friends, including us.
Where in reality, we're walking into someone's workplace and we don't work there.
Exactly. It was like, despite the fact that like when I first pulled in, it took me back to my public accounting days, just like going to these warehouses and like working there or performing inventory counts, and it felt like I said this to Nicole. It felt sort of like a first day at work at a job that you're excited to be at, rather than one like you're like, oh, everyone here kind of sucks, and like you're nervous about like the future. It felt like everyone was doing a great job at like, I can't say I've had that
experience. Be nice to the new guy.
I can't say I've had that experience.
I've my last real office job, I've had that experience.
I've genuinely been excited for every single job I've ever had. I'm dead serious.
I've only really had one real job and I hated it. I guess that's.
I mean,
that's my
you have a real job now.
I don't count it because I enjoy it.
It's not like
you're not supposed to like your job.
Get
You're not supposed to like it. We're in America. You're supposed to hate yourself and your job.
Get out of here. You're supposed to like your job. You're supposed to at the very least like who you work with.
Yeah. Yeah, I only work with one guy. But yeah, anyway, I
One
mean,
guy.
if
Didn't
you are
used to be
going
that
to
way.
Billy's, just be very if you have, especially if you happen to pay for like the $100 like meet and greet stuff. Be very excited. You're gonna have a great time meeting all these awesome people.
Yeah. Yeah. Give Brendan a back rub when you're there.
Yeah, I'm gonna climb under the banisters and be a part. I'm gonna pretend like I do work there, and I'm not gonna expect back rubs the entire time.
Brendan's gonna bring a masseuse table and just lay on it,
Just like
and
"Ah."
it's a sign that's gonna say "Rub me."
I don't have to make the sign. I already have it. It's made up already.
Please rub me. But with talks of being rubbed, with this little digression to start the episode about how truly blessed we were to have this experience and how
Yeah, just a
kind the
big
Jomboy
big
Media
thanks.
staff is. Let's get into our bread and butter, Brendan,
Yeah,
and let's
I'm Brendan
start
Butter.
doing some burns.
Burns.
Game 1.
Do you need help bagging or
Oh,
restart?
restart, redo,
Do you need help bagging your groceries, sir? No thanks, all we got was ice. A strange trip to the grocery store turns into a stranger outing on the mound for Jack Doyle as he gets dinked and dunked for 5 runs in the top of the inning. Ice answers back with a strong offensive performance of their own, but Jake is able to drive the stake through the Ice Boys and win this one 5-4. Lower the music. DJ, lower the music.
You know what? Make the music louder.
Louder.
Kind of incredible. This game was, what a way to open it. I think that we said it while we were there too. Like this game, and I didn't notice it at the time because we were so locked in. I didn't notice how long this first game was. You said it, Blitzball guy said it, Jolly said it. This game was very long, especially compared to the next two. But it was the only game where somebody hit a maximum. And thank God it was Baggage because they needed that. Jake's coming back.
Yeah.
Baggage loves pressure, and Jake's coming back.
He's coming real back. And you know what? I think with him coming all the way back now, it's allowing Jimmy to come back a little bit with him. He's dragging him along and like making him perform a little bit. That's if Jake doesn't perform at all, I don't expect Jimmy to. But if he gives you a lot, Jimmy's going to give you something. And I wouldn't have expected going into this game that Baggage is going to be the team to have a max out inning. The way they've been playing lately.
No.
So impressive.
I mean, Jimmy pointed it out to us. I can't remember if it was in person or on Twitter, that Baggage has been like sneakily the most offensive team in the tournament.
I think they were just beaten out by someone. Check. I think they scored 8 runs total, and someone else scored 9. I forget who.
Yeah, I scored 9.
Scored 9, but still, like
coming into the day.
Yeah,
coming into the day, Baggage had the most.
Right.
And it was crazy. I mean, we'll get more into it when we actually do our full recap. But Baggage loves pressure. They love it, and they proved it in this game. This was the double resiliency game from Baggage.
Yeah. I mean,
from both sides,
they had to put up. I mean, a little bit less pressure now because
or shut up.
They didn't have the pressure of being fully knocked out of the tournament anymore. I think we didn't fully touch on it. There was a rule change. Everybody's making it because they realized the way it was shaking out after week 3, there was going to be no real stakes.
No stakes.
So they changed it so everybody makes it. There's now a playing game to get into the playoffs at Billy's. But now I think it works out better because now there's even more content happening at Billy's itself. So I think it's a win-win. But where week 3 was more fun for that reason, Billy's is going to be more fun for that reason. And then we get a Baggage win. I think everybody was excited about a Baggage win. It seemed like from being within the walls, because you don't really get a perfect sense of what the audience is doing on the screen unless they pan to them.
Right.
But being there, it was funny how everyone that was watching was rooting for Baggage. It was almost very clear that they were rooting for Baggage. And we turned to Jolly too, and he was like, "Hey, everyone started as a Baggage fan. We're all here because we're Baggage fans at heart."
Yeah. I mean, that is what it was. That's where we're getting too into it, Brendan.
Yeah.
Burn game 2 for me, please.
Oh, right. I forgot. This is how we do it, talking Yank style.
We do it talking of the Yankees.
I'm still mad.
Burn
I slipped up on the Jake is able to drive the steak. That was such a good rhyme.
It's okay. You threw up on camera, which is fine. Gonna get us views, baby.
Gonna get his views. That's what it's all about.
Get us views, baby. Game 2, burn.
Lou Dev trying to make it a historically bad day for We Got Ice by serving them 2 cold losses in a single episode. He looks like he's going to do just that as he exits the first inning with a clean. Oh no, Joes bobbles the last out of the inning, ultimately allowing 4 runs to come across for We Got Ice. The score would remain there as We Got Ice goes 500 on the day. Yikes.
Game 2. Lou got so unlucky.
He was mad. He was very mad, and he fully blamed Joe's. He's like, "Yeah, we might have fucking won if it wasn't for Joe's." Like,
Joe's fully blamed Joe's.
Yeah, yeah. It does crack me up whenever Joe's does something wrong. Lou is not afraid to be like, "Dude, you fucked up. You need to rectify this."
Did you talk about the Noah play in your burn for the last game?
No. What?
Brendan.
Well, we'll save it for when we get there.
I guess we're going to have to save it for when we get there, guys. Noah had a game. But this game was kind of a comebacker. I was thinking this while we were there. I was wouldn't it be funny if, like, each team that played, like, or of the teams that played 2 games, lost their first game, won their second, and then it kind of shook out that way?
That would
kind of funny.
That would be really. That's one of the funnier things I've heard.
That's my first joke of the episode. Bring it back. I get 3 an episode.
You get 3.
So
that's the first one.
That was number 1.
I think you should just stop right there. You're gonna go out on top.
Burn game 3.
Okay. Well, the Hookers trying to avoid a play-in game at Billy's by taking advantage of a tired Lou. But New York's favorite postman wants to make old man Dan look like a fool in front of his father. He does just that by dominating on the mound and hitting a walk-off home run to finish the 3rd week of Blitzball Blitz. Pinstripe wins 1-0.
I lost a bet during this game. Jack.
Peter's now homeless.
Jack said when Hookline came up to pitch, over under 10 pitches to get out of this. I said over. I think Dan finished at 4. Dan had 4 pitches. But Jack said that speeds counted towards it, and I think Dan had 2 speed violations.
Mm-hmm. So 6 total throws.
So I think it was 6 in total, and I said, fuck, just under. Jack did not let me forget. But yeah, it was very disappointing. Dan, don't know if you know this, finished regulation hitless.
Wow. I think
he
I
finished the regular season.
That, yeah.
Finished the regular season hitless. Not a good look for Dan.
Yeah. I think they might have
Dan
been saying it on the broadcast too.
Man.
They were saying it in-house and then maybe on the broadcast as well, that Dan's dad has really been laying into him about the tournament and wanted to make sure that he didn't let Lou beat him. I guess he knows that Lou is one of the best players in the field, and he's got one more chance of getting a hit in regular season, so please don't let it happen. And then he goes hitless against Lou and gets the only home run hit on the day gets hit off him. Tough day.
Yeah, I mean, Jolly stayed, Jolly stayed jolly. Jolly's been, sneaky a good batter, which is kind of rude to say.
That's kind of his thing.
But Jolly,
he's no PS king.
Batting 500, tied for 4th highest batting average in the league with Zoe. He has a higher batting average than Nicky does. Higher OPS than OBP than Nicky does, rather. Jake, Lou, Jack are the only ones that have a higher batting average than he does. And I mean, what can you say except it's unsportsmanlike, but don't give Lou a pitch to hit.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Lou's one of the best hitters, and he's the only one that seems to not get shaken by the fact that Dan is just a lefty. That's his whole thing.
Yeah.
He's a lefty. Like he doesn't have crazy stuff, but he does because it just moves differently than every other single person that throws in the warehouse. But it doesn't affect Lou.
Lou in person, I think, is the most impressive athlete I've ever seen in person.
Wow.
I think, well, like obviously,
Like
professionals
between
don't
like
count.
pals, you're saying?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I think he's the most impressive. And I've
Impressive
played.
normal person.
I've played soccer with like people who played Division I soccer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Which I guess, to be fair, I guess it's a different context because Lou is playing with people at or just below his skill level, so it makes it a little more impressive when you're Peter Del Rey, who's never played organized soccer, playing soccer with somebody who's played Division I. They're not really bringing their A game, but it's kind of incredible what Lou can do in a situation like this.
Mm-hmm. And he also just has the most drive. You're watching him, and you're just like, this guy wants to win so fucking badly.
Lose a car.
Yeah, he does not stop, and he takes every pitch and he like stomps back to the mound like with every step has intent, and he's just an intimidating presence at bat or on the mound.
Did you watch this back?
Yes, I did.
There was one point, I don't know if you caught this, where Lou was walking back to the mound, looked fully locked in, like angry Lou face, and then he just looks over at the stands and like smiles,
I remember that
and then
too,
back
in
into
person.
lock in.
Yeah.
I remember it in person, and then I watched it again, and I was like, wow, they really caught this moment. It was crazy how he just went in and out and back in.
Yeah.
But
All right, let's
back
go back
to
to
game
back
one.
to the beginning.
Wayne's World. Baggage versus the We Got Icers.
So
Like we said,
this is
Baggage
one of
is
those hit
the-
parade games.
Hit parade. Baggage is the first. Yeah, it really was a hit parade. It was 9 hits in this game, which is crazy. Baggage is the first team to get a maximum. After Baggage got the maximum, Jolly said something like, "Damn, Baggage really won this." Or it's like, can Baggage hold this off from going to an at bat off? And I was like, yeah, We Got Ice. Every time they're in a situation like this, they have made it like a content thing. I said, they're content creators. They're going to put up 4. And that happens. And Jolly goes, dude, you fucking called that. I was like, this is what they do. This is what We Got Ice does. Every time they lose or win a like intense game, it's always
So
by
it's
one
close.
run. They are the kings at it. And obviously they don't do it on purpose.
Right.
But it's just funny how this kind of thing always works out.
Yeah. I think I was on the side of Jolly too. Like I was like fully expecting a swing off too. Just like the way the Baggage's season has gone and the way their games have gone within the past few tournaments, it just felt like that they couldn't do anything right even when they did. So I'm glad that they were able to hold them off.
I kind of said it like half jokingly. Like I fully believed Baggage, like after the first inning was over, 5-0 Baggage, right? Because obviously We Got Ice hasn't gotten up yet. I fully believed when I said this, I delivered it as a joke. But when I said it, I fully believed that We Got Ice was going to score 4 runs. Mm-hmm. And if I was wrong, who fucking cares? It's a backyard baseball, essentially. But like, there was no, for some reason, for whatever reason, I could not be shook. There was no doubt in my mind this was going to be a 5-4 final.
And you're
I'm
right.
a smart boy.
You're right. That was one of the few bets you made. Peter, again,
I
I
made a
want to
few
harp.
bets.
Peter was gambling like crazy.
One
Zoe was
big.
really riling him up, and you lost a couple tens of grands.
A couple
You were gambling with 100 grand bars.
I grabbed a humbug and gave it away.
Correct. How did this
I
rally
lost.
start though, Peter?
What'd you say?
How did Baggage's rally start though? We didn't talk about this yet.
Well, they got 2 outs really quick. Mm-hmm. It was the first 2 outs, and then our favorite thing in sports, resiliency, kicked in, and they scored 5 runs on 2 outs because they were inspired by a
By a
Noah
little boy.
McFly where it was so like perfect poetic justice that Jimmy makes a breakdown of the ball boy at the Marlins game doing exactly this, and then Noah does it for him just a couple days later. Like
It's
it
so
was
funny.
so poetic. We didn't even open up. The inning opens up. Jack throws a ball at the commentator booth.
That was the theme of the night was to throw balls at the commentator booth.
Well, I don't know if Jack's was on purpose. Watching it back on the YouTube, Jake's was clearly on purpose.
In person, none of them looked on purpose, and then Jake's
No.
looked very intentional.
Jake's on the video, Jake's looked very intentional. In person, it did not, and it was just like,
I was like,
oh, I
whoa.
can't believe that happened twice.
Yeah.
Jack's, I believe, was a full accident.
And maybe
But
Jake
then they
took
get
to the
into
next
it,
level.
right? Jake started hitting four straight balls. Joe's delivers the line. I wrote this for some reason. Don't want to get hit in the dick, Pop, which killed me. Jake gets a walk. Jimmy gets a hit. Jake gets a walk. Jimmy gets another walk, walking in a run. Jake gets a hit, walking in a run, and it's just like that's it. They were locked in. At that point, when Jake got that hit to get the second run, you kind of got this feeling of, oh, nothing is stopping them. Like Jack is on the bump. Anybody could strike out at any point, but they're getting this maximum. They were playing like men possessed at this point.
I mean, even them getting two, I was like, oh shit, they should have gotten any runs. So they're lucky they got two. This is already a win in my book. So I'm happy that they're going into the next inning with two on the board. That's where my head was at. And then the fact that they got any more than that was like, now they need to make sure they shut this down and take advantage of a big offensive day.
It's crazy how just taking a step back, putting myself in Jimmy's mind, it's crazy how his mind or his like thought process must have been like simultaneously, fuck yeah, we can win this thing, and wow, this is great content right now.
Yeah. I wonder how that goes.
Kind of nuts. Like it's such a great TV show.
Yeah.
You know, it's such good entertainment because it has these moments of tension, and even even if you take away the baggage could only be the fifth or the fourth seed going into Billy's, like take that away
And just focus on the game at hand.
No. Like if you take that away, this was still a super tense game. Even knowing that if baggage lost, they were for sure the 6 or the 5 seed, and it doesn't matter how really the rest of it shakes out. You know?
Yeah.
And then they just said, don't give a shit. Scored 5, flipped it over. Jake takes the mound, right? Excuse me. They get a hit immediately. Jimmy's diving, misses. Then a walk. Then they load the bases. Then it's like, oh no. I've seen this story before.
Yeah.
I don't
Story
want.
alley
I don't
before.
want. Oh,
My first joke.
Oh.
2 more left.
first joke for Brendan. Brendan's got 2 jokes left. I've seen this story before. Like, We Got Ice is so good. They're gonna come back. Oh, Zoe strikes out, and you start to believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jack hits a single, and then they score a run, and you're like, oh, we're back to full upset mode, because then Jake walks in another run. Then Jake and Jack have a really good at bat, 10 pitches long, that ends with Jack striking out. Then Zoe steps up, makes it 5-4 with a double.
Mm-hmm.
And then, a lot of people there, I'm sure you were like, oh my God, Jack is up now. Jack has been a phenom this whole tournament. Like, Jack really could be considered the MVP of this tournament. He's been incredible.
Yeah.
On both sides. This is the only game in the entire, spoiler alert, this is the only game in the entire tournament Jack let up a hit. Like he let up 5 in this one, but it's the only game that he let up a hit, and they were playing with essentially a wounded dog with their back up against the wall, who were going to throw everything they had at him. So you see this happen, and you're thinking, I don't know what this is what I pictured. You were thinking is like this is going to a swing off. Me, because I'm premonition PD. I was like, this is ending 5-4. This game is over. This at bat because Jake is going to get this out, and that's what happened. Jack swung. It dribbled up back to Jake, made the play. Game over. Baggage get their first win in dramatic fashion, and dare I say, game of the tournament.
It might be. I mean, it's one of the rare games we get like a full back and forth too. It was a lot of fun, and I don't know. I did feel like it was going to a swing off just because Baggage really has given us no reason to believe they can win. They haven't won in a long time before this game, so it felt good. And I'm always rooting for them. That they're my team. They're the ones I root for day in and day out in these tournaments. They're number one. I love the hookers. I love them all. But I'm a Baggage guy at heart, so it was great to see.
Tell the truth.
It was also.
You love them all except.
I really don't like love yous. I hate love yous. I hate them because they skipped out on us that day and they weren't there to meet us. So.
Wow.
Sorry, guys. But no,
you think that's why they skipped out? They said, "Oh, those guys are."
I think once we told Jimmy what day we were able to come, I think Love Yous scheduled their games around the day we weren't going to be there.
That's how it works.
To be honest,
that is how it works.
Yeah.
To be fair,
but no, I mean, even Jake just catching that last ball. We've seen it's not later in the tournament. We've seen it's not as easy as it looks. Sometimes it can bounce around on you, and especially when
earlier in the tournament too.
That
Dan
error,
Canobio, last episode.
Yeah, that error not loses you the game, but puts you in the swing off position. That the pressure of everyone watching you, like this is the easiest play to make. I think sometimes the easiest plays to make are the hardest, just because of the mind games.
You get in your own head.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jake doesn't phase him, finishes the game. What a guy. So, I'm a fan.
Great job. Incredible, really incredible game. It had everything.
It was a weird. It was a weird one. Everyone was saying on the stands like, "This is a strange game." It starts with the Noah. Baggage hits a ton. Jack's getting lit up somehow. What is going on?
A long game.
Yeah.
A long game for a 1-inning game. Very long game. But you want to get into it?
Yeah. The one quick thing I will say that fun little insight we had while being there. Jimmy was saying that him and Jake were starting to see Jack slider well, and that was what allowed them to. Well, because
Jack
singles.
threw a lot.
He said they threw a lot of them.
A lot of sliders.
And Jack admitted to throwing a lot of them too, maybe too many of them, and interesting to see what Baggage was seeing that allowed them to put some balls on the ground the other way.
Yeah. Jack also admitting that he really doesn't do the behind the back pitch unless it's during tournament play, which is fucking hysterical. We walked in, Jack goes, "Yeah, I have a behind the back slider that I've never actually done, but I'm going to try it out today." And I said, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, and then I was like, "Is it going to go this way?" Is it? No. It'll be like the other way. I'm like, but you haven't thrown it. How do you know? Interesting.
Player of the game.
Player of the game.
I have it. Me. I'm gonna give it to Jimmy.
Wow.
Wow, good job, Jimmy. I wanted to give it to him because this was more so like I should have given it to Jake because Jake had an amazing game on both sides of the ball, and like he was very resilient pitching, got himself into a hole early, but fought his way out of it. Great job for him. But I'm giving it to Jimmy because Jimmy needed this game. Jimmy was in a funk. Jimmy was down on himself. Jimmy was in this place after Blitzball Battle 3, after most of this tournament, where he had lost all confidence, seemingly. From a fan perspective, Jimmy had lost all confidence. Then Jimmy comes out of here, 3 RBI, a walk, and 3 singles, hitting around Jack Doyle. Cannot be emphasized enough.
Yeah.
You have to give it to Jimmy for just stepping up when he needed to step up. Like, Jake has been great this whole tournament. I don't think anybody can deny that. Jake has been phenomenal this whole tournament. He's starting to get back to where he was previously. And you needed Jimmy to step up, and Jimmy stepped the fuck up and then some. So Jimmy is easily my player of the game.
I like it. I would have gone a different direction, but you convinced me. I'm with you. Even more so just because
I was pretty passionate.
It was the passion that brought me in.
Thanks.
But
Passion fruit.
it's crazy. He's also the CEO of this company, so he's at the same time, before and after, especially. And I guess even during too, when he's not playing, he's running a company. And the whole day finishes, and then he's got to now have like an end of day meeting with the staff. Like he's doing so much at once you don't even realize until you're there and you see him be a boss while now inserting himself into this tournament and trying to perform.
Yeah.
A lot of hats.
I mean, great job, Jimmy. Like, strictly from I'm giving him this strictly from a player perspective.
I'm putting it all in the pot. He's a great guy.
Play of the game.
Play the game.
Hey. Oh.
I have two in mind,
Oh.
but I'm gonna give it to our guy Noah.
Oh,
Noah.
no.
I mean, I've never seen a funnier clip in these tournaments of I don't know, it wasn't me. Like it was obviously you. And then like proceeded to just still stand in that spot. And I remember the broadcaster being like, we should probably get him out of there soon. He's just standing there menacing like he's ready to do it again.
Noah,
so funny.
it has such a big personality. Noah, it is crazy.
Whatever
Like,
he
just
gets that
completely
from.
outside of the game, Noah has a big personality. Noah's very funny, like purposefully. It was crazy when Noah, when I walked in with an NYCFC jersey on, a blue one, and for those who know soccer, they have the same colors as their parent company, or their parent club, I should say, which is Manchester City. So Noah, I walk in and they're like giving me the tour as I want to say Jack is like mid-sentence. Noah runs up to me and is like, "Why are you wearing a Holland jersey?" And I was like, that's not what it is, bud.
Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. Peter Del Rey. Here's my business card. I brought business cards.
Yeah, I mean, everyone went right to the shredder with those, buddy.
You can't not bring business cards. But yeah, I mean, what was your other one?
I can't tell you. Sorry.
Oh, man.
You have to guess.
Oh, nuts.
It would have been Jake's final out just because it was an iconic out.
Let me guess.
Yeah, I just muted myself so he didn't hear me.
Yeah, I didn't hear. Brennan muted himself, so I didn't hear what he said. Was it when Jack threw the ball at the commentator?
That's what I said. Yeah.
Was it when Jake threw the ball at the commentator?
That's what I also said.
Oh, was it when Jimmy threw the ball? When Jimmy convinced everybody to throw the balls at Dan during the intro.
Yep, that was. I was talking for like a good 20 minutes. That kind of
third strike of the game.
Up. Third strike of the game too, and the fourth one. The sixth ball.
Sixth ball. That was a big one. I remember
that was a big
that one.
Yeah, it was a big one.
I remember that one. There were only 9 runs.
Yeah, it was the seventh run.
Seventh run was
one
big.
of my favorites.
Seventh run was big.
Yeah.
Seventh run was big. So what's the official play of the game? What's the official play of the game?
The official play of the game goes to Noah.
No way.
Goes to Noah. It was a turning point in the game.
We're memeing.
It was great.
It was.
To
be fair, it was.
It was one of my favorite parts of the show.
Final out. That was a really good shout as well.
Yeah. Just a shout.
That was a really good shout. So, on to congratulations, Baggage. Congratulations, Jimmy. Congratulations, Jake. No congratulations to We Got Ice until the next game.
Until the next game.
Game 9. We Got Ice versus Pinstripe Straw.
I mean, I guess we should start with just Lou's pitching performance, which was awesome, and he looks like an absolute dog. Really good. He was great until, you know.
He let up 4 runs.
Yeah.
He was really good pitching.
All unearned.
All unearned. all right, but not for these purposes, not for the Blitzball Boys stats keeping purposes. They were all earned runs. This is not Major
Tough.
League Baseball.
But that's a really easy one to understand that it was unearned though. It's so clear. It was
yeah,
the
but that's
final
not
out.
how we've been doing it. That's not how we've been doing it.
I just want to say it out loud that Lou pitched really well, and I understand you get tired when you're not supposed to pitch as much as you thought you were going to because outs need to be made on the field if you want to go far in this tournament.
Yeah, Lou did pitch really well. He had 3 amazing strikeouts. Like I've said, Lou is an absolutely insane pitcher. Insane pitcher. It kind of stinks that, Lou gets a strikeout. And then he kind of he loses it a little bit. Or Jack is very good. So Jack gets a hit, very good. Then he walks Zoe, but even during the walk on Zoe, he looked fucking ridiculous. In my notes, I wrote that Lou was demonic with the way that he was pitching.
Yeah.
It was nuts. Then he gets another strikeout to get Jack. And then Zoe singles to get the bases loaded. And then what we were talking about to make the runs unearned, Jack hit one towards Zoe, slow roller, and it's just it happens to all of us. These balls are hard to pick up as grounders, and Joe's drops it. Everybody, I think, in the crowd at that point got up, stood up, and put their hand
I think even
my
as it was rolling
God.
so slow to him, everyone's like, oh, it really happened. Oh no. Yeah.
Really, you think so? I wasn't like that. I was
Yeah.
like, wow, they got out of
Here
it.
it
And
comes.
then I was like, wow, we got ice picked the wrong day to not have
I was
it.
in the warehouse.
And
Anytime
then-
something is rolling very slowly, I'm like, oh boy.
Oh boy.
So I've been.
Oh boy.
Everybody stood up, put their hands on their head, and then, they scored 4 runs. We got
Theatrics
ice
are real
scored
in the
4
warehouse.
runs.
Everyone watching is very over the top, and it's in a very fun way.
Yep. It's crazy. The crowd was way more alive than the videos make it seem.
Yeah.
The crowd was very much alive. But then, Lou gets out of it by striking out Zoe. When Zoe was having a really good at-bat, really battling at the end of that at-bat. And then it's okay, Pinstripe strong, known for their hitting. Lou is becoming the best blitzball player out there, slowly rising up the ranks to be there. I fully think Lou will get there. I'm 100% certain. I think that Lou will get to be the best at some point. It's crazy. It's not incremental growth. It's exponential growth that he has shown from tournament to tournament. It's insane.
I think, and he always had the talent there. He's always had it in him from just all the experience he has. But it's a matter of just seeing more and more blitzball pitches and just recognizing more pitches as more people learn more pitches. He's quickly adapting because he just has that eye. So he just needs more exposure to blitzball, and then he'll be the best.
My cat's at the door.
Hello,
You hear
Peter.
him? I don't know if you could hear him.
It's
Try
me,
to let him in.
Harry.
Can I let him in?
Let me the fuck in.
Let me in, Peter. Why are you closing the door? Bane's back.
Oh, Bane has your cat at hostage.
But then they come up, and Lou hits one early off the wall. Jack, we got ice defensive specialists. Off the wall, Jack grabs it. Holy shit.
Signature
The
play.
warehouse is going nuts.
It's almost like he
because
pitches to have someone pop out off the wall to him. Like he knows what
It's
pitches will
crazy.
induce a off the wall pop up.
Yeah. And then Joe strikes out 3 pitches. Joe strikes out. Next one.
And you need
And then
Lou can't hit one off the wall every at bat, so you need Joe's to show up. And we know now he is capable of having some slug. He's got a good swing. He just hasn't really shown up so far in this tournament.
Yeah. But then he gets a walk. Lou gets a walk against Jack so that Jack doesn't get the perfect game. Aww. And then Joe's is up and Jack shows that, all right, I'm done. Strikes him out.
Yeah. It's a tough matchup for the Joes.
You know, it felt like a completely different We Got Ice from the first game.
Yeah.
Uh,
It made it look like I don't
Jack-
know if
Jack
Joe's can even
threw-
hit Jack, honestly.
Jack threw 70 pitches. 50 of them were in the first game. And
Nuts.
it kind of went like, you brought this up. I didn't even notice this. Like, when I watch any type of sports, time means nothing to me.
You usually take a nap
So,
around
I usually take a nap.
hour 1 or 2.
Usually take a nap around hour 1 or 2. So, but to me, the first and second game, same amount of time. You turned and you were like, that game was super fucking short. And I was like, what are you talking about, Brendan? Watching it back, that game was really
Yeah, I was
short.
mad. I took Jolly by his collar. I was like, I want more.
You threw him
Why
across
isn't
the
this
warehouse
longer?
one-handed.
I've been working out one arm. I won't tell you how.
But yeah, like Jack kind of dominated this game. In a game where we thought Lou was going to dominate, because that's what Lou does. Lou just dominates.
Yeah.
Jack fully was in control of this game. And I guess, like, should I just go into it?
I guess.
Player of the game.
Player of the game.
Brendan has it.
I mean, are you telling me that I have to have Jack as my player of the game?
I'm telling you that you're an
bullying
adult.
me into this? Okay. Well,
You're
so
almost a
already
handsome adult.
That's true.
Almost a handsome adult.
Mhm.
Everybody, wish Brendan a happy wedding in. Oh my God, is it like 2 weeks away?
18 days.
Holy shit, Brendan! That's so exciting.
Do you start
oh my
to
goodness.
do you start to look handsome the closer it gets, or is it's a night and day change?
It's a. It,
Wow,
you
I
might know
can't
Chris
do
the
it.
bride.
I can't.
Handsome.
Oh my God, that guy is.
Oh,
What
You
an
didn't tell me your-
Adonis!
you didn't tell me your husband was this much of a looker.
He finally has a bulge in his pants. He's not inverted anymore.
You kiss Nicole. I kiss the bride. Your teeth just.
They're perfect.
It's so funny. I feel so bad every time I make fun of your teeth, and then I remember the story that you told me as to why they look like that, and it was just pretty much your dentist was like, "They'll be fine."
Right.
They
Yeah.
weren't, and he just lied to you.
I think they'll grow in right.
I can't get over this. I can't get over how funny of a story this is.
It's pretty
It's
fucked
that
up.
and Brian's
It's-
story with the Majora's Mask.
which was
He got Brian Bilecki, Brendan's co-host on the Hoppy Boys. Go listen to it. It's very good. It's a very good show. His older brother, got The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask for Christmas one year, and that's a game, for those who don't know, with 3 save files. So Brian's thinking, "Oh wow, Steve got this game." And like he'll get a save file and I'll get a save file, and then he just put a big ol' S on the corner denoting that this is his game and his game only.
Nobody
And
else's.
It cracks me up every time Brian
this
tells
one's
the
for
story.
Steve.
It kills me, but yes,
That's a good move.
Once
If
you
you
kiss
want
Nicole,
anything to yourself, write your first initial on it, whatever it
Yeah.
might be.
it's
That's how
unique to
I
you.
got Nicole. Actually, I
That's
wrote
how-
a big B on her face and magic marker.
he jumped. He saw her in one of his classes, and really quick, he just, "Oh, you got something on your face." Had a very tiny pen. Oh, you have something on your face, and just wrote a B. He's like,
B.
"Mine,
Fine.
sorry,
Hey, you love
you're
me.
my wife." But
Player of the game.
you could pick Jack, or you could pick Nicole. I don't care.
I'll pick Jack. He was
Okay,
good.
Sorry, Nicole. Maybe next week.
I mean, he did throw no hitter in this one inning, but still he looked. It's crazy that 50 pitches somehow warmed him up and made him look nasty. I guess he eventually found it. Not that he was losing it. It was also kind of smart to, if anything, like lose Lou in that at bat to get to Joe's. And 2 of his outs were against Joe's. Like getting Lou to pop up once was like nice. I got an out with Lou at bat. That's huge. Let's use Joe's for the rest of them, because he can't catch up to my nasty. Like his knuckle drop was just looking. It was absurd. Like that was one of the pitches that you could really see from the side, really dance, because the side to side, the horizontal motion was difficult to see from the sidelines, but the top to bottom drop was. It was like the entire height of a man. Was how much it was moving. It was really nuts.
It was stupid.
Tell you.
What
Great
Blitzball
pitcher.
guy was saying? The Blitzball guy was saying it to us too, right? How just like he does stuff that he never thought of.
Yeah,
He never thought possible.
I think he mentioned that Nicky's slider is the best he's ever seen.
Yeah, he did, but he also said that Lou does some stuff that like wows him.
Yeah.
Lou and Jack like absolutely wow him. He said Nikki was the best he's ever seen. Nikki's slider is the best he's ever seen.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Wow. Jack deserved it. Jack got. Are they still RBI? I don't think so. We're going to count them as RBI.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
For our purposes. He got 3 of the 4 RBI, 2 singles and a double.
I mean, to me, if you
3
contribute at all offensively and then shut down the other team, to me, that you're gonna get the
Crazy.
MVP.
Crazy. Good job. Play of the game.
Play the game.
Fitting that the
That's you.
laugh track is a laughter, Brendan. Because my play of the game, for the second game in a row, a McFly boy gets the play. Because it's got to be Jose's Bobble.
Oh man.
It has to be Jose's Bobble. I feel really bad about it.
Our laugh track is exactly what the warehouse sounded like. Everyone pointed and laughed.
That's not true. Everybody
And
said,
we each got to turn to pants him too. That was the best part.
everybody, every single person in the warehouse was like, "Oh no!" Especially when you saw how sad Joe's
Yeah.
was afterwards. Oh my goodness! It was nobody wanted that to happen,
No.
but in a sense of the game, and I have to be the bad guy because it was the most impactful play of the game. It brought We Got
You're
Ice
a
back
bad guy,
into
man.
it. I'm a bad guy. Duh. That's 2. Is that how the song goes?
I'm not sure about the last part, but definitely
Is it
the
duh?
beginning. I'm not sure. I haven't heard it in a while.
I'm a bad guy. Isn't it something like that? I don't know. I don't like this song personally.
You continue to sing it though. You might like it a little bit.
Because now I can't. I need to fucking look it up. I don't know what the song. Bad guy, duh.
Bad guy.
Bad guy. Billie Eilish. But
More or less, it was an impactful play. Yada yada yada.
It was impactful. It opened up. It opened up the game, and it also closed the door
Wow.
for Pinstripe Strong.
When you close one door,
This
you
is
open
really
up
hard.
another.
I'm talking right now, and bad guy is in my ears because I need to know.
Peter, who are you kidding? You're listening to music the entire time we always record. You don't really want to hear what I have to say. You're just bopping along.
It is duh.
Journey. Fuck. You just lived to prove me wrong. Well, I guess I'll take over the rest of the show. Peter's gonna listen to this song on repeat. He actually does love it quite a bit.
I hate that song, but no, it was the most impactful play of the game. It was the most impactful play of the game. How about you, Noah?
You'll get me every time with the Hagedari.
Austin Powers.
Just say it at the end of any sentence.
I feel so bad about this. It could have been anything. I could have said Jack's double,
No.
but nothing.
Hey,
was
0-0.
You
game.
take one
Swing
highlight.
off. This is a swing off. If not for that play,
You're right. Listen, when you're right, you're right.
it's fair.
I just feel bad about it because, like we said at the beginning of this, everybody was so nice to us, and now we have to be like, ho, back to McFly boys.
Yeah.
Ruined 2 games.
They ruined my whole day at the warehouse.
They didn't ruin the games. Noah actually helped the games.
Sure.
But I just like now that we've met him in person and know how nice of a guy he is, and how much he cares about it, I just feel awful.
Yeah.
Let's just go to game 3.
Game 3.
Go to game 3. This might have been the shortest game.
This actually definitely was. 'Cause I
This
remember when
definitely was
one
20,
finished,
27
oh
pitches.
shit, that's it? I was having fun.
Yeah. I mean, so this was hook line versus pinstripe.
Lou's mad now. Lou's mad.
Lou's mad. Lou had an amazing game. He started off with a 5-ball walk, and you're just thinking like, "Fuck, Lou's still in the dumps
tired.
from about the last game."
So I asked him, I think I mentioned,
Strikeout.
like, hey, are you okay? I did give him a tip. I was glad that he agreed with me too, because I didn't want to like speak out of turn. But I said to him like, hey man, it looks like when you were throwing anything off speed, your motion slows down, and that was all the pitches that they were hitting. And he's like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I don't fully have my off speed down yet. I could kind of see the same thing. I see that. I'm like, oh, okay. You're not just like, thanks, bud.
Coach Brendy.
Keep it walking. So maybe
Get outta
maybe
here,
he took
you
a note.
nerd.
Maybe he took a note. I don't want to pat myself on the back completely, but maybe he threw a little less soft speed stuff and was sticking with the old sidewinders and the underwinders and the top winder.
In the bottom winder? I notoriously never pay attention to pitches as a spectator. So I don't know if he was throwing less of the off speed stuff, but like he started off with a 5-pitch walk, which kind of made you feel like, oh, he's still in his head, but then he gets a huge K.
And then we're rolling.
We're rolling. He keeps it going with really good pitching. But Jolly gets a hit, and then Dan hits the ball to Joe's, and you're thinking, oh, this is the time. Like, Dan's getting his first hit. Joe's makes the play. Everybody starts throwing their hats and their shoes on the field. And I was telling Brendan, throw your hat. I didn't have a hat. Brendan, throw your hat. He didn't want to because Brendan is disrespectful.
It was my favorite
and
hat.
doesn't care about good
Hat.
plays.
It's a very soft hat.
Brendan, I love soft hats, but Brendan hates a good play. Brendan only likes to mock people because he's a bully.
True.
Always
Yeah.
been, never not been. But then it was like that's 2 outs, and then Jolly's up. Jolly gets a strikeout. We talked about it earlier. Less than 10 pitches, which really stunk because Dan was looking good. Dan was looking very good against Lou, and then it was just he left one for Lou to hit. Lou hits a home run. Pinstripe wins.
Yeah, and that home run swing was just swung with such confidence. He just like
Perfect.
I mean, not that Lou ever swings without confidence, but it was with intention. It was with game-ending intentions. It was great. It was great to be in the warehouse for a home run too. Glad we got to see one.
I'm dead serious, Brendan. In 1 year's time, I would not be surprised if Lou was the number 1 blitzball player in the world.
I wonder if it's difficult to get past that point, like a certain number, if you're not playing against the 80-mile-per-hour leagues. We'll have to dive deeper into that when we.
What, Trevor was top 5 for a while?
I think that it helps that he was an MLB player, and they might take his overall talent into account.
Wow, you think that? Wow, Brendan.
That's what I think. But I think most of the
That's
top guys are playing in just like the regular Blitzball league
That's unbelievable.
during 80
Brendan.
plus or 80.
I think
80
Lou
below.
could do it.
I don't
Lou
think he could, but I think that it's something that is a disadvantage
1
that he's
year.
only playing in the warehouse.
1 year.
1 year.
I think
no soup.
I think no soup. 1 year. I think Lou could do it.
I
think he could be
absolutely
number
think.
one.
I think the only thing that hurts him is that he, in his old age,
Brendan.
maybe can't pitch with those guys because he probably can't top out at 80.
Do not be rude.
I'm just saying.
We're
There's
celebrating
limitations,
life.
human limitations.
We're celebrating life today. Don't be rude.
We celebrate life every day on this show.
So then Lou's getting an interview, and this was my favorite part of the whole thing. Joe's is just like pacing in the background of Lou's interview, listening to Lou speak and just being like nodding and being like, yeah, for the kids, for the family. My family's here. We got to do well for them. Yeah. And he's like nodding. And then Jimmy and Paxton are like, get Joe's out of the fucking shot.
Like he's not being interviewed right now.
Oh my God. It was killing me. Joe's is a character, man. But there's not really much to talk about
No,
here.
I mean, we're going long anyway. Let's just rip into these.
Player of the game.
Player of the game.
It's Lou.
It's
Lou.
Lou.
He got 2 strikeouts, induced Joe's ground out so that he could get a shower. Hits a home run, wins the game. That's it. It's bing bang boom. That's it. There's really not much to talk about.
Obviously.
Obviously.
It's quick. All right.
Quick. Play of the game.
Play the game.
They were laughing at how quick that player of the game was.
Oh, so quick.
Oh, so quick.
You think I might go one direction, right? Harry Styles, the rest. I don't know.
You don't know.
But
You don't know about
I'm not just a mean
Blitzball.
guy. I'm not just a bad guy, duh.
Oh,
I'm going to give the play of the game to Joe's for making the catch. will
Oh,
toss
this
my
is kind of a
proverbial
bad
hat
guy. This is kind of
at
disrespectful.
Joe's for
This
making the
is
play.
this is kind of not a very nice thing that you just did. The play of the game was very obviously Lou's home run to win it. That was disrespectful, Brendan.
He redeemed
And-
himself.
It's
And he also
unbelievable.
deserved
You're
the
just
interview
doubling
over
down on
Lou.
it. This is Brendan.
Why was Lou even
Oh
talking?
my God.
I want.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
Brendan. No, I don't. You're being disrespectful, and I'm not going to stand for it.
It's a clean sweep for the McFly Boys on the plays of the game. It's a clean sweep. We have to leave it as is.
Congratulations to McFly family.
Well, I mean, this is a historic episode of the Blitzball
It's a
Boys.
historic episode. Historic episode where the McFly family has swept the play, the game. They did it.
What a day.
Somebody get him a plaque. We got to get him a trophy. We'll mail it to him.
I need to start making more plaques.
We'll make a bunch of plaques. But yeah. Billy's is coming up.
But it's coming up.
Baggage versus Hook Line in the play-in.
For that
I
one,
believe it's
unfortunately,
We
we'll have
Got
two different
Ice.
perspectives. I will be there, and Peter's been getting bullied for not going.
I'm getting bullied for not going. My parents are moving. I have to help them move.
But they're moving into Billy's, so you'd think you could just kind of watch when you get there.
They're moving into Billy's, but they're saying, "Oh, we're going to try to move in before 10 o'clock." And it's like, okay, Mom.
Okay.
And it's like, and afterwards, we're going to go out get some lunch. I was like,
Can we just eat at Billy's?
Can we just eat Billy? No, that's my third joke. We got there this week. Billy's is coming up. You got Hook Line versus Baggage.
We got to see Lovies again.
We got
skipped
Ice.
the whole week of Lovies, so that'll be
Yeah.
fun.
We Got Ice versus Pinstripe Strong, and then Lovia's versus winners of, a champion will be crowned.
That's for certain.
You know what I'm interested in? Do you think that they have banners printed for everyone? Probably not.
No, because they usually. I was actually worried for a second when we walked in there. I was like, "Are we going to see who won floorball by accident?" But I forget they don't.
Well, yeah. Luke told
They
us.
put it
Luke
up.
was like, "Yeah, everybody's like, they might just let it slip."
Yeah,
And we're
we
like,
didn't
"Don't worry."
talk about floorball. I guess because of that reason, we didn't
Well,
want to.
that and like we were there for Blitzball.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just I wanted to be in the moment type thing.
Yeah.
But regardless, Billy's is coming up. I think it's time, Brendan. Previously, you said that you thought it would be Hook Line versus Lovia's in the final, with Lovia's winning.
Yeah.
I said it would be Lovia's We Got Ice. Let's do it. Prediction time. Ready? Hook Line versus Baggage.
Oh,
Nope.
going by one
We're
by
going
one?
one by one.
Okay.
Hook Line versus Baggage.
Hook Line takes it.
I think Baggage is going to win.
I hope Baggage wins.
They're hot.
But Hook Line has been so underperforming right now that I think they're going to have a breakout game.
But Baggage is going to exercise their demons.
Maybe maybe they love, like you said, they love pressure, and this is like the first time they've ever done anything like this, and they might thrive in this environment.
I did tell Dan that it was very nice of him to give the other teams some kind of hope so they could just crush it and go on a winning spree.
That's what I'm talking about. They have the potential's there.
I would love that. I love Hook Line.
Let's see a Dan Canobio MVP spree from here on out.
My God, that would be amazing.
We've seen it before.
So then We Got Ice versus Pinstripe.
I gotta go. We
Because
got ice based on the most recent matchup.
It can't be Lovia's versus Hook Line in the final.
Oh,
So you said Lovia, or you said We Got Ice?
yeah.
I think so too. I think We Got Ice is going to win just because Zoe and Jack are hitting.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Joe's, if I'm not mistaken, is not having a great 143 batting average, is not having a great time at the plate.
No, but yeah,
this
both those
tournament.
guys are hitting.
Both of them are hitting. So I'm going to say We Got Ice going to the finals at Billy's. Lovia's versus, I guess for you, Hook Line, for me, Baggage. And I think it's a no-brainer. I think we have the same answer. Lovia's.
Unless they've been off for too long, they're going to be cold. Who knows? Who knows?
I mean, look at how long they had been off from Blitzball Battle 3 to Blitzball Blitz, and they
Yeah.
started off really hot.
Yeah. I'm going to say upset. Hookline takes it all. Back-to-back
Brandon.
championships.
Brandon, don't do that.
Back-to-back championships. Because even though Floorball happened before this is
Wait,
still
are you
airing
being
beforehand.
serious?
I'm saying Hookline is taking championship.
Wow, that's crazy, Brendan.
Bold prediction. You heard it here.
You think they're going to beat
Hooker
not only
Nation.
do you think they're going to beat Love Yous, you think they're going to beat We Got Ice in the final?
Yes. Yes.
I think Love Yous is going to beat We Got Ice in the final. It's a boring prediction, but they've been crazy. And Nikki really wants this.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be recency
Nikki-
bias because I haven't seen Love Yous, but I know they're the best.
Yeah.
But
You're out on Love Yous because
I'm in on
they didn't because they weren't there.
I'm
They-
in on the
they
team that's been
snubbed us.
performing the worst.
Wow. So you heard it here first. Brendan thinks that Hookline will be winning the whole thing, going on a revenge tour, winning every game.
I mean,
The
why
most
not take
games.
advantage of the system? You're in, just run the table.
Take advantage of what system? They definitely have nothing to take advantage of.
The fact that they're even playing at all, that they're in this tournament still.
Wow. I like that.
Yeah. Here we
I
go.
do like that. Put it on a t-shirt. I think Lovies are going to win it all because I'm boring Pete.
Put that on a t-shirt.
But
On
yeah,
board,
thank you
t-shirt.
again to Jomboy Media for inviting us to the warehouse. Brendan, what should people be drinking?
Drink subtle tea, listen to the Hobby Boys, listen to the Lonely Boys. Quick plugs, because it's late. But you
Nope.
know. Oh, you know what else? There's one more thing, too. Listen
There's one
to
more
us
thing?
on YouTube. And I guess you can also watch on YouTube because it is a visual medium. I believe it's on the Boys Media YouTube channel. So type in Boys Media and you'll find there's a couple podcasts on there. The Hobby Boys is one of them. The Blitzball Boys is another podcast within the Boys Media channel. So you'll also see us post links if you don't follow us on Twitter. We are Ruppy Puppy, R-U-P-P-I-E, P-U-P-P-I-E, and Peter Pask, P-E-T-E-R-P-A-S-Q on Twitter, and we will be posting everything there.
Wait, Brendan.
Mm-hmm.
The Boys Media is not a channel.
That's why
That you
I
should be-
continued on to further the plug because I was worried I was saying the wrong thing.
I typed it in, and it's like Jupiter is the or Saturn is the picture for the channel.
Yeah, so you're better off looking for the link because I don't know what it's called, but it's up there.
Can you? Is it possible for you to put the link? It's just Boys Media. Is it possible for you to put the link
in the podcast?
in the description
Probably, yeah.
for on Spotify?
That's much smarter.
Oh my God, Boys Media isn't it either.
Maybe just look
This
up the
is
Hobby Boys.
great. Just look up the Hobby Boys,
Probably.
or just look up Blitzball Boys.
That too. You look up this show.
No, not that. Oh yeah, they're wow. This is crazy. YouTube's so tough, but yeah. Thank you for listening. I have nothing to plug except for Matthew Del Rey. Be nice to him if you see him. Back up your iPhone, or your Android or your Google Pixel or whatever you have. Back it up.
And
Just
I like
back it
to
up.
thank my friends.
Your what?
My friends.
Friends?
My future wife.
Future wife?
My dad.
Dad? Brendan?
My
Don't you
cat.
dare. Okay. I thought you were going to bring this to a
And
dark
that's
place,
it.
Brendan.
No. Peter, you got anything else
Yeah.
you want to talk about?
Nope.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye-bye.